here. Well, I would say welcome, because this is the first game of the day. I am Tempo, joined by Drenok, and this is the ASL Bacon Weekly, Chapter 2, as we do spawn here on Coda. This player, the blue Protoss player, representing something.
Heralds?
Heralds, okay.
The little spinning thing says Herald.
Oh, yeah, Heralds Esports, yeah.
That's the ultra zoom. You have to zoom in so much to be able to see that. It's not even fun at that point. I just like when it's the stupid, like it's Nathanius's face or whatever, or it's like a unicorn.
Face stupid
it's
or
so
something.
Good.
What do you?
No, just when it's
shots fired.
One random thing. Shots fired, guys. But his opponent in the top left-hand corner, representing himself, but also a little bit of love from ASL. It is the Green Zerg player, NeuralisK. What I'm excited for is when we're like, Chapter 29 of the ASL Bacon Weekly. NeuralisK currently on his journey in Mirkwood. See where he ends up next.
Currently on the index of the ASL Bacon Weekly. Like, when you, like, really get that far. The epilogue.
End to the 4th, guys. We're on the chapter end to the 4th. Let's do this, though, all right? So, here we are on Coda. Mm-hmm. And Coda not at least in the lot V map pool. At least I don't think. And each time I say that, I feel like I contradict myself with what I said last time. Yeah. But
the
it's
thing
not,
is,
right?
it's Legacy map pool and then Heart of the Swarm map pool, right?
I just mean as in what I know. I know NeuralisK is playing Legacy of the Void. I know all these guys have been playing Legacy of the Void. So sometimes it just kind of it's a switch in your head that. Mm-hmm. Okay, different map pool, a little bit different players, whatever, going on in it. So you always have to just take that into account that there are players that are kind of stretching themselves between, seeing what they can do. And looks like for now, NeuralisK, seeing what he can do, taking a 3 hatch before pool. We'll see how MagicRover punishes it. And I can't quite place who MagicRover is, but I've seen him in tournaments before. I think he is just straight up MagicRover, though. He's not a Smurf.
All right. Well, we'll see what he can bring to the table here, as he did kind of recognize what he could do. When you do start up with that gateway, then scout 3 hatch before a pool. You can get a little bit cheeky if you want to by dropping a forge, but you know, you can always just take the other road and say, all right, pretty happy with just getting the Nexus out before the Cybernetics core and just seeing where it will go from here. Not really going to try to punish it off of like the first couple buildings he makes. It will be after the expansion.
You can try to punish it, but it's actually not too hard with a gateway first. I think more what you got to be thinking as a Protoss player in your head is, okay, I don't need to worry about 6 pool, 8 pool, whatever quick metabolic boost. Yes, you need a wall up for a Ling swell, something like that. But when you move out, whatever metabolic boost is going to be delayed, and it's just you don't need to punish it quite yet. You can punish it in the next couple minutes because still that third base will not have drones at it for a while, and it's just going to be a liability. So I feel more in your head, you just got to say, okay, I need to be patient, wait a couple minutes, and then take my decision, and then be decisive.
Yeah, and he's going to have a lot better of an economy behind it. If you do try to punish it with like another gateway or something crazy, like say you don't even drop the Nexus and you just go for like a 4-gate, it's like, it can be held. 3 hatch before pool can still hold those kind of things, but you pretty much put yourself at a disadvantage where you are committed to that, right? And if you're making that decision right on the spot, that may not be necessarily what you're used to doing, and then you don't want to throw the first game of a series here, especially if you feel like your strength is in the mid-game, the late game. On a map like Coda, you know, it's not really like favored for any of the races here, so I agree. I like taking the Nexus before the core and then going into what it looks like to be a Stargate.
I like Stargate in this position. Not only will it allow him to kind of get some damage done, sadly his opponent scouts it like right off the bat with those Lings, so you will have a little bit of a preemptive notion of it, but still, I like the idea. It's just that I can get a little bit of damage done behind you. I don't need to physically move out. And then in the end, I mean, yes, you can do Void Rays versus Roach Pushes. It truly is a versatile thing to do. Maybe it is a little defensive, but with more Oracle openings we're seeing from Protoss and PvZ, you can start to at least annoy your opponent and hold them back onto their side of the map, while you yourself you do what you want to do. That Stargate is defensive in that kind of notion of, I buy myself time.
I love the Stargate too because it does force a reaction here. NeuralisK already dropping 3 Spore Crawlers, and he did drone up pretty well, or at least he was It looks like MagicRover has overtaken him in that department. He's at 41 probes to 32. So while the production of NeuralisK is really good, he's not really on the best drone count at the moment. And even if he won't lose too much here, it's still the fact that he's just not really economically where he would want to be. So I think it's because of the gap. What do you think he's going into here? He's getting a lot of really early 4 gas here with a really low mineral saturation.
The scary thing, at least for MagicRover here, is he hasn't actually scouted that 4 gas, but I mean, he sees the Roach Warren, he sees 2 Evo Chambers, and he thinks it's going to be Roaches, which it kind of has to be, I feel like, with the Evo Chamber commitment. Maybe that's a defense from like a Mortal Sentry something push and just a safety, but there's the Hydralisk Den coming down, and maybe just I'm going to get some extra upgrades. I think that's what the 4th gas is for, and MagicRover may scout it and kind of throw him off. We'll see, though. He will see the Hydra Den, so he should kind of check it off of, okay, cool, how many gas, what tech, this is what you're doing, and it should just be a Roach Hydra push. We have +1, and actually also melee coming down.
Right? Yeah.
Intriguing. So, I mean, it just maybe just going to swell whatever he can and keep throwing things at you.
I think it could work out here. The 3rd base is really early here for MagicRover in the sense that it's going to be up before any of these units of NeuralisK do get out. But going for the melee and the ranged, he's just going to most likely do some kind of big Ling Hydra attack and then kind of catch MagicRover off guard with the fact that the Lings are going to be upgraded too. So while they all are going to be pretty much glass cannons, you know, it's definitely one of those things where you are more committed to the attack than just beefing up the armor of your units as they do get into the late game. So,
Now, NeuralisK doesn't know that MagicRover is still going into Void Rays off the back of this, and actually he's constantly pumping them. Sadly, we'll have to kill the gate right there, but with the Void Rays, maybe it's a situation of where I flood Roaches, whatever, maybe you kill them, but can Stargate deal with mass +1 Ling? Do you actually have the AoE to deal with that? Which, albeit, we do see MagicRover getting Colossus now. Still, though, maybe it's that mentality of just you have a lot of damage, but it's got to focus down 1 unit at a time. There is no AoE. So it could be a kind of cool mind game within that. You know, on the other hand, it's still NeuralisK getting up to those quick Hydras, doing that. I'd much rather have him just go for a 1-1 Hydra push against the Void Rays, something of the sort, or at least maybe take a quick 4th. It's still stretching him a little bit thin.
Yeah, I'm wondering what NeuralisK is planning here, because he's starting to drone up again. So he will be able to fully saturate these 3 bases, and he made a lot of units here, maybe to deal with potential Phoenix follow-up, but I don't know if he saw the Void Rays. However, he's letting MagicRover get on this 3rd base really uncontested. You know, he's up to 64 probes. And then maybe, oh man, I think he's getting a little bit of inspiration here from like Rogue. Maybe watching some Pro League as he is getting the
Baneling drops, man. Yeah.
Does he have
did get Baneling speed, and so I don't do Baneling. Oh, that was a nice revelation.
He needs Overlord
right there,
speed as well, or does he already have it? He already has it. Cool.
He's got it. 38 Lings on the way, and not only is the Baneling drop good as in just dropping, but with those Lings easily with 38, not 34, I don't know what I said before, but you can pull the army out of position. We'll see how that goes down. You know, MagicRover, though, back at his home, does have a nice SimCity. NeuralisK taking the top right-hand base, but I feel like all MagicRover needs to do is say you're going drops and make like 2 Phoenixes.
Yep.
Or do that. This is the scout. That is the scout.
It's basically the scout. Yeah, that's a big deal here. So we can mentally prepare for what is to come. And now he's like, okay. A big thing about this kind of play is that it catches a Protoss completely off guard. You know, you're not expecting it. How often do you see Baneling drops? It just doesn't really happen anymore. So now we can think in his head like, all right, how am I going to deal with this right now? And Blink will not be done before that happens. He just pretty much has to spread out his units and not be too clumped up whenever those units do hit. This is going to be one of those weird little pushes that we do see here out of NeuralisK. The fact that it gets scouted is so awkward. It's like, oh, great.
It is. It's when you're DT rushing or whatever, and you're like, oh crap, they saw it. You don't really know what to do here. I'd love to see MagicRover pump out 1 or 2 Phoenixes and not split his army up, only because the main force of NeuralisK here, which will be fighting MagicRover's main force, Hydra, Baneling Ling, Sentries easily will be able to kind of just push them down, hold them in, and let the Colossi do the damage. So I feel like it's more important here. Maybe not to MagicRover to be 100% clumped up, but to have a couple Stalkers in the main, and then the rest of the army just rely off force fields and sentries to hold us back. For now, though, maybe not just going for a drop, just going to go right on top of the army and drop Banelings. That could be an issue.
Yeah. He does have the Overlord, or the Void Rays here, so he could deal with the Overlords as they're moving in. Gets his units into a better position. I guess, yeah, not being in that third location is really good here for MagicRover. If you get stuck behind his base or, you know, in this really clumped up position, he would not be a happy person, but he's actually going to be on the offensive here. And here come the Banelings. The Overlords are going to drop. He's actually not reacting, so he knew it was coming. And now all of these Banelings are going to just go all over the Protoss army. NeuralisK, can he push it back, though? Oh my goodness.
I think MagicRover actually could have held right there with his Concave, but he is being very careful retreating, and NeuralisK's Baneling drops were beautiful. Dropped a couple of them, getting the damage done, but then didn't quite drop the rest for a couple seconds, allowing the first, just not allowing them all to clump up and to get the most benefit that he can. But now, I don't think he's going to be supply blocked, but on the other hand, that was all his gas. That was everything. We see more Hydras on the way.
Yep,
but the rebuke, MagicRover walking across the map with the Remax.
Yeah, he's just gonna go counterattack here. NeuralisK, and what does NeuralisK have? His creep spread is really not that great at the moment, and that was one of those attacks where he was hoping to completely obliterate the army, and he did a really good job there. Granted, whatever units that he had against, this is like the ultimate death ball composition of Protoss, right? And just add in a few storms in there, and then you'll be all right here. But I mean, this is one of those situations where, yeah, you did really good against the army, but it's not like he had a crazy economy at home, and he didn't really deny the fourth either. I think it got canceled, but it's not like
not only that, but
still take it.
He did damage, yet it wasn't killing damage. A lot of the Colossi are down to actually health-wise about a third of their normal health, and that's what I was saying with the Banelings of they did really good, and then the second wave almost kind of finished them off here, and now he is at that situation where he's not killed the key death ball units that are making that up. We do see this nice Zealot harassment on the right-hand side. No charge quite yet, but these are still 2-1 Zealots, and they should make quick mincemeat of the space. Dang it, the Oracle went down, and I think with that first attack right there, just the Overlords needed to be there just a little bit before the main army. Yes, that would have allowed Stalkers to do the damage, but it would have taken up the Colossi and the Stalker fire, allowing the Hydralisks to get into an even better position.
Oh, and down goes the fourth base, yeah. I think this is an awkward position here, because you're still on Ling Hydra, trying to transition into double Spire while getting Infestors and Hive. I don't know if NeuralisK knows exactly what he wants to do, but it does seem like, or at least getting Neuroparasite. It's a little tough to do when there are Colossi out, that's for sure. But he is just going to go right into Mutas, it looks like. Double Spire, okay. Might as well go into it if you can start getting your upgrades. Big problem, though, is that usually you want to transition into this after you've traded a few times and after you're on at least 2-2, you know, upgrades for your air. So this may be a little bit of a premature Mutalisk transition, but there's really no other defenses at the other bases of MagicRover. So it could force some kind of base race.
It could force base races. We see Banelings maybe looking to do some damage. They pull back, realizing, we gotta rethink our life goal. And one thing I was thinking of, yes, this would have delayed the Baneling Overlord hit, but maybe getting a Spire earlier on. He was on 4 gas. He did have a surplus of just straight up gas right there. Maybe a couple of Corruptors would have been cool with the main Overlord force. Just work on the Colossi as the Stalkers take the fire. Just the entire idea of just kind of making your army not realize what's about to go down, even though we did see out of MagicRover, he spotted that. And the funny thing about that engagement is it wasn't like he went Mass Phoenix something to counter it. He just kind of said, you know what, I think I can walk through your army anyways. And right now we're just seeing, I mean, NeuralisK pull back again. Viper's coming out, but they're not going to have enough energy to really start getting those abducts done if MagicRover pushes in. For now, though, his economy in this entire game has gone relatively undetested. And as a Protoss player, I mean, you see 3,700 minerals in the bank for NeuralisK. With the +1 melee, I assumed he was going to flood a ton of Lings after that attack went down and just kind of overwhelm his opponent, but we have not seen that. Not putting it into drones, it's kind of a wonky position for our Zerg player NeuralisK here.
Yeah, and it's even harder to put it into static defense. You can defend your bases, but without the creep spread, you can't put them at those very crucial locations. So he's just going to go for an attack. Oh, NeuralisK, I don't know if he realizes what's right there. There's a bunch of Archons as well as some Storms
and the
going down.
Storms.
Oh, but the Banelings are going to drop.
G
Don't think it's enough, though. Just not enough Banelings.
GG. MagicRover takes that game pretty, I mean...
Here we are on Cactus Valley. And this guy, he's done it in game number 1. Can he do it in game number 2? Representing Heraldz Esports, it is MagicRover.
And his opponent, literally in Skype chat saying, have you guys watched Pro League? The green Zerg player, NeuralisK, going for an 8 pool.
So that was what I was talking about. I said, hey, maybe he got inspired by a bit of Pro League today because it was Rogue. Rogue did him some really, really cool Baneling drops against Hero in such an epic game. Absolutely. It was beautiful to watch, you know, bringing me back. Because you don't see it. It's like the ancient long-lost strategy of Zerg that you never see it anymore.
It is really sadly that, and at some points it's less that something happened, it didn't work, it's literally some people just kind of forgot about it. And then once the Korean player on the main stage is like, well, it's still possible, guys, like, it's still something you can do, why not? And then everyone's like, wow, this is cool. Wait a minute. You can actually do something here. We do. By the way, we do see an 8 pool by NeuralisK, and he's going to scout last. Literally, it's going to be the last scout he gets to see this. So we'll see on MagicRover. The gate fast expand. It all comes down to the micro. Yes, he's going to have a couple of Zealots out, and it's all going to come down to the micro of the Probes and Zealots against the Lings. The Lings will be able to scout there in time. They're not going to be able to kill the natural. We'll see, though, when MagicRover takes his gas. I think that's the most key thing. There's the first gas.
I believe this was actually a Nexus first out of MagicRover. So
it was, yes.
These might be able to do quite a bit, especially because, NeuralisK playing it safe by sending the drone out. So a little bit less economy, but now he's going right for it. And as you go for the probes, that's what I would do, you know? Try to get as much economic damage done here. You can end the game right here. He's really going to proxy hatch with it, too. That's a very interesting choice here, but don't get your Link surrounded there. He's going to not get the best positioning here on these probes.
Even with Lings surrounded, still the Lings are trading decently here. They've only killed 2 workers, but more Lings on the way, and there's finally the drone for the proxy hatch. But now a Zealot being chrono boosted, this is all the probes need to actually fight this, because yes, we're seeing Lings coming across the map, but 6 at a time, a Zealot and a couple probes can deal with that.
Yeah, they can, and the fact that those Lings kept getting taken out, pretty big here for NeuralisK. He never really got the amount of Lings that he's able to overrun everything with, as he keeps on losing a few at a time. With that proxy hatch, I'm interested to see what he plans to do with it. Maybe a Queen for the Queen for the Mothership Core, and then Spine Crawlers to follow it up. But,
even with all the Zealots, got to be really careful right here. He does not want to lose it. Once you get 2 to 3 Zealots up, you can just start fighting against the mass Ling. There's the hatch scouted, and let's say in a wildest dream that he does go for that Queen to kill a Mothership Core. Well, there's no Cyber. I feel like off the back of this, you just throw down a couple extra gates and pump Zealot to defend. There's the Cyber, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Maybe the inject, maybe the close Lings, but now that MagicRover has Zealots out, as long as they don't get trapped in some crazy position, they'll be fine, and this actually is not a bad fight if the other Zealot comes in.
Yep, the third Zealot gonna add that DPS and the tank ability.
Oh, the micro!
Just so nice, keeping every one of those Zealots alive. Wow. 1 goes down, 2 goes down.
Oh, it's getting dicey right here.
The micro is real.
Micro is actually super real. Oh man, that one Ling gets the kill. Like, out of all his buddies, that's what I've always wondered when, like, in any kind of older Air Force, whatever, World War II is, like, who's like, yeah, I got that kill, and the other goes, you didn't get the kill, and he's like, well, who is there to see it? Another Zealot coming out for MagicRover, and because that Zealot count was reset right there, it becomes such a dicey position for MagicRover to deal with. The Mothership Core is out, Queen will be out now, but I mean, that Zealot, that is the heart of the Protoss defense here.
Yep, and he is going to target it down. The Spine Crawler going to go down without a cancel, but the second one does get canceled. But with that probe and the Zealot support, I think that Queen is going to go down. And with another Queen on the way, he still could make this work, you know. The probes are starting to fall.
NeuralisK is going into desperation mode here. Yes, he's killed some workers, but as you mentioned, when this first attack happened, Tempo, that he had to go for workers, and he just lost so much trying to do that, or as in not waiting to pull up lings. And now if we look at income, 19 workers to 9, and slowly MagicRover has been taking the lead. There's the hatchet. It's going to go down so easily, and MagicRover with the Nexus first and cross spawns looked like he may have defended this.
Yeah, I think he's going to do it. The hatchery is going to go down very soon, which will mean that there will be no more queens. And can he at least drop a queen?
Oh, the Zealot's going to focus it down. Oh, there it is.
Well, the Broodlings are going to get us around on a lot of these Zealots here. But they're starting to run out of steam a bit. It's more so the larva production here for NeuralisK is very limited. But he's getting some more probe kills. But, I mean, MagicRover has many probes to spare.
MagicRover definitely has many probes to spare, and I think that's kind of how IRE works, is just for the greater good, whatever, and like, you can sacrifice yourself. There's a cannon being thrown up, but there's the photon overcharge. Also, in the natural base of MagicRover has never been contested.
Nope.
Never. It's been double probe production off this, and that's a situation where, okay, you don't kill anything the main, fine, I kill the natural, and we're kind of even. That's not what happened.
Not at all. We're looking at 25 probes to 11 drones. Lings are not even a threat anymore. That mothership core really taking care of business at the moment. How many kills? Yeah, 8 kills already. 2 of those being a queen. And now, NeuralisK looking like he wants to expand, but you know, there's a sneaky probe here from MagicRover that could cannon rush it, and that would be like just the salt in the wounds. I mean, that's when you cry into your own cut that you just got. If he was able to get a cannon rush here to kind of stop it.
That would be a terrible thing to happen. And now that I think about it, with that proxy hatch, the only thing off the back of it would maybe be like a creep tumor, something to at least delay the Protoss. But now cannons are out, and natural base of NeuralisK, as you mentioned, it will be undetested, but still worker-wise, 30 to 12.
Yep.
It's just so good, probing up beautifully off the back of that, and MagicRover has now secured himself a beautiful game here, like we saw in game 1. After being able to secure a relatively quick 3rd and then 4th base, if you're the Protoss and you can get up to your dream economy, deathball or not, you can do just about anything.
Pretty much. I mean, when you're at this point, right, it's a pretty comfortable position for MagicRover, not only because he was able to kind of just deflect that initial aggression, but now he's on a map like Cactus Valley where even walling off like this is pretty easy for the most part. And if he can confirm the 3rd hatchery of NeuralisK, that'll make him even more comfortable, because he knows that there's going to be a moment of vulnerability where NeuralisK is going to be desperately trying to drone up. I mean, even at this point, desperately droning up is really tough to do. Stargate, follow up.
It is definitely really tough to do, especially when the queen back at your main was so delayed, doing the queen at the proxy hatch, and now this little probe of MagicRover. I mean, he's going to come and bring great tidings home. There is a 3rd hatch, guys. We are in it for the money. And there's the proxy pylon going down. Oracle also coming out, and Tempo, you are the resident Zerg player here. NeuralisK, as you mentioned, he's gonna have this opening where he's just trying to drone, and there's no roach one, there's nothing, and
it's gonna be tough. Even dropping spore crawlers is damage enough. You know, the good part about Stargate is that it always does force a reaction, and even if NeuralisK had to make spore crawlers so his other drones didn't die, already that is such a huge investment to the really small economy that he has right now. It's just a little too much. He knows it. GG will be called.
GG.
MagicRover.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.